Hi everybody, welcome back to the Decimal Works channel, and we're on to breaking down the engine from the ST2 944cc project bike today. So if you'll remember, we had what sounded like a clutch noise. Now I don't know if that was through lack of use or, as the owner said, that there was genuinely a problem with the bike, but because it's going to be my personal bike and I want to do a lot of miles on it, I want to strip the engine down and just check it all out and make sure everything's within good tolerance. So first thing we need to do, let's get the clutch off. So like any clutch removal on a Ducati, let's just get rid of that gasket. First off, we need to take the 6 clutch spring retaining bolts out and remove those springs, so let's do that. This one is rounded, so I'm just going to get a spline bit and drive it in to get some traction. So that head went to cheese, so I used the multiple spline rather than the standard Torx bit. The clutch doesn't look like it's been serviced in a long while, and that rod has got so much crud build up on it. It's just when I'm taking this apart and it's stuck in the end, it needs freeing up from there. Let's pull the plates out. So a lot of corrosion on here, which is down to where I probably washed it, but the other bit that's of note is look how much damage there was. This has lost friction material on some of the parts of the clutch, so they're for the bin. Well, the whole clutch is for the bin anyway. Need to take out the center hub, which is done via this nut. Alright, so we need to hold this whole mechanism here. Okay, center hub looks reasonably okay. I mean, the rubbers are rock hard, so might be part of the reason. As I said, I'm fitting a new clutch, so this won't be going back in. This will just be spare parts. Okay, need to take the clutch basket out, which is completely mullered. And these are 13mm bolts, 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. So let's just whiz them out. That was just stuck on the primary wheel where it's just been on there for quite some time. So just a case of working it backwards and forwards just to slowly lever it off. So that was just stuck on the primary wheel where it's just been on there for quite some time. So just a case of working it backwards and forwards just to slowly lever it off. That's garbage. You can see it's all well and truly worn, so for the bin. Okay, next off, let's take the belt covers off, and so we can get to the belts. Ooh, messy. Bike must have been stood for a really long time. Belts look really loose. There's corrosion on all the wheels. Okay, let's get these belts off. So all I need to do is undo the locking nut, undo the mobile tensioner securing bolt. That will take the tension off the belts and I can just pull them off. So there's one here, one here. Just remove these adjuster assemblies and put them to one side. Fixed belt roller, 10mm. Okay, to take the heads off I need to get to the bolts that sit behind the timing belt cover piece. So what I'm going to do is take off the pulley from the camshaft. So special socket goes in there. Then I've got a holding tool for the cam wheel. Okay, that's the head nuts all exposed all around the engine. So let's do the horizontal one first. Okay, so let's now get the vertical head off. Wow, initial impressions are really good. I mean, despite this having like 20-odd thousand miles on it, you can still see the cross hatching in the cylinder. I'm just going to get the turning over tool and just check the horizontal one. Same again, all the cross hatching still evident. So all things told, the piston swept area looks in really nice condition. We'll check it all out anyway, but let's pop the cylinders off now. You'll see that one was quite stubborn to get off because there's corrosion all along that cylinder stud. Not so bad on the others, just that one in particular. So the maybe can or cannot see it, but the channel for the stud was quite furred up, so it took a little bit of effort, but we're out. Same thing for the vertical cylinder now. Let's just pop that off. What I can see are the com rods. We don't seem to have any overheating or signs of stress on the com rods, which is good. The gears look to be undamaged. Okay, so next thing to do, let's start getting the side covers off so we can start getting to break down the bottom end. So I'm going to take the alternator one off first. So generator side cover off. Nothing appears to be untoward in here either. Looks okay. Everything nice and clean, apart from the oil. Obviously the oil was absolutely felching, but the actual inside of the cases look good. There's no impact damage from anything, so it's not been apart before, which is nice to see. Concern was a couple of the bolts were loose, so they've worked their way loose over a number of years, but you can tell by the lack of excess free bond that it's not been reassembled before. Okay, let's get the clutch side cover off now. And again, everything looks reasonably okay inside the clutch side of the engine, albeit that looking at some of the staining on the primary wheel, the seal inside the clutch cover has been going. Let's start stripping this bad boy down then. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to buzz the primary gear nut off. Let's remove the oil pump now, which is one bolt here, one bolt here, one bolt here. Let's get the primary gear off. There you see the fun and danger in working on Desmo engines. So my advice with these, always stand to the side when you're taking off the primary gear, because with the amount of force that's gone into that 186 Newton meters on that slight taper, it just does have, as you saw there, it has a tendency, rather than to just release slightly, it just flies off. And if you're stood in front of it, you're going to get a huge, I think it's about 1.5 kilos, probably more, plus the primary gear flying at you, and it's it will hurt, you know, especially if you're at chest height. It's going to go right into your rib cage, so just be careful on that front. Okay, so this is the clutch side of the engine done. So we've got primary gear off. Let's flip the engine round and let's do all of the generator side now. Okay, cases are ready to be broken. I've just got to get the start motor off, but because of the way this stand works, it's being supported by the start motor. So I'm going to get the cases out, put them on the bench, and then we've got 2 bolts on this side because it's a later engine, and then the remainder of the bolts are on the other side. So let's go ahead and split these cases. What I will do first is just take this earth lead off. Okay, first off, I'm just going to drop out the start motor. 1 bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, out it goes. Okay, so let's get this pulled apart. So we've got 1 bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, bolt just here, bolt here, bolt here. Then on the other side we've got 1 in here, 1 in here. Okay, so first off, what I'm going to do is I am going to release the indent spring for the gearbox, just so we don't have the spring and the ball go flying when I split the cases apart. Now, last but not least, we've got to take off the lower sump case bolts, and we should be good to split the engine. Okay, one ST2 engine stripped down and haphazardly just dumped on my workbench at the moment. It's dirty oil. It really smells in here, by the way. Lots of cleaning needs to get done, so I can really assess the condition of all the parts. I mean, on first pass, looking at the bearings and having a feel of them, it doesn't appear to be any excessive play. There doesn't appear to be any excessive wear on the gear train or transmission. We obviously picked up on the fact that that seal was leaking slightly in there, so that will need a new one. Just really everything, you know, the pickup isn't damaged or scored. Water pump shaft looks good. There's no signs of water passing it. I haven't looked at the sprag gear, but I will do when I check everything out. the selector forks. The cases were a bit of a bugger to get apart, and that's primarily because these dowels were sticking. So in fact this one in particular was sticking, but I eventually got there. And then the output shaft for the gearbox was stuck in its bearing, so it wouldn't come out, so it sort of forced the gearbox apart. But it doesn't really matter because everything's got to be cleaned, everything's got to be checked, and then I've got to suss out, do I send these away to get blasted and cleaned and repainted? Same with the heads, or do it myself. I'm probably going to keep the cases at home and just sand them down. I'm not too adverse to doing this. I've done it. Have you seen, I think on the Thunderbite video I've done it, so I've done it with plenty of cases before. I don't mind painting that so much, but the fins, because of trying to get in to clean them, is a bit of a challenge. I may well give that to somebody to blast and it'll be a little bit easier. Combustion chambers look reasonably okay. Slight bit of carbon build up, but I've seen far worse on other engines. As we sort of said, you know, you've got hardly any carbon build up on the piston crown. It's quite light, and you can still see the hatching on the cross hatching on the cylinders, which is a really good sign because it shows it's got plenty of life left in it. So it's apart. What I'm going to be doing now is getting everything cleaned up. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that quick strip down of the engine to get it to a position where I can clean and inspect all the internals. As I said, got to work out what we want to do with the externals, which will probably be to send the top end away to somebody just to get it all cleaned and everything repainted and recovered. And then I'll do the bottom end and then make sure everything's put together properly. So the gasket set's already here, so the next video will be, the next ST2 video will be really dependent on when I start getting stuff back and what progress I can make. So it might well be that I just do all the dimensional checks as the next video. We'll see. Anyway, that's it for now. If you liked the video, chuck us a like. Any questions or comments, then stick them down below and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, would really welcome you as a subscriber. If you're a current subscriber, thanks for your support. It's really great, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers then. Bye.